The night LeBron realized the Lakers had moved without him, LeBron James thought he had seen everything the NBA could throw at him until his phone lit up in New York and the Lakers' future changed before he could even finish dinner. One moment, he was coming off a win over the Knicks. The next, he was staring at a notification that looked too wild to be real. Anthony Davis, his closest teammate in Los Angeles, the man he trusted in the biggest moments, the co-star who helped him bring a championship to the Lakers in 2020, was gone. Traded to Dallas and coming back to Los Angeles was Luka Dončić. The 5-year-old superstar many already viewed as the next face of the league. For most fans, it was breaking news. For LeBron, it was personal because this was not just another NBA trade. This was not a bench piece being moved. This was not a routine deadline adjustment. This was the Lakers ripping out the heart of the LeBron era and replacing it with the foundation of the Luka era overnight. And according to the story, LeBron did not get a warning call, did not get a quiet heads up, did not get a chance to prepare himself for the franchise-altering move that would reshape the final chapter of his career. His reaction said everything. In the players' group chat, LeBron reportedly typed only 3 letters. What the fuck? That was the whole message. 3 letters from a man who has controlled headlines for more than 2 decades. 3 letters from a player who has built teams, broken teams, led dynasties, carried franchises, and changed the entire power structure of the NBA with one decision. But in that moment, even LeBron James sounded like everybody else, stunned, confused, and trying to understand how something this big happened so fast. And that is where the real drama begins. Because yes, the Lakers had just landed Luka Dončić. On paper, that looked like a historic win. A generational player in his mid-20s, walking into Hollywood, ready to become the next great purple and gold superstar. Any franchise in basketball would have celebrated that. But the cost was Anthony Davis. And for LeBron, AD was not just a teammate. He was the partner who stood beside him when the Lakers climbed back to the top. He was the defensive anchor, the championship brother, the person LeBron had trusted through injuries, pressure, criticism, and playoff battles. Losing him was not just a basketball adjustment, it was an emotional hit. Still, LeBron did what LeBron always does. He found the camera, controlled his voice, and chose the professional answer. He said he understood the business of basketball. He praised Luka. He made it clear that Luka had been one of his favorite players for years. He even framed the moment as a new opportunity, a new partnership, a new chapter. But then he said the sentence that changed the tone of everything. I didn't make the decision. That line was quiet, but it was heavy. Because when LeBron James says he did not make the decision, people listen. This is a man who has spent his entire career being more than a player. Teams have built around him, front offices have waited on him, coaches have adjusted to him, rosters have been shaped by his timeline. So when the Lakers made the biggest move of his Los Angeles career, without him at the center of it, the message was impossible to ignore. The Lakers were no longer just managing the LeBron era, they were preparing for life after it. And that is what makes this story so explosive. Luka's arrival did not simply give the Lakers another superstar. It quietly started a countdown to the moment when LeBron would have to decide whether he was still the face of the franchise, the bridge to Luka's future, or the legend Los Angeles was ready to move beyond. So now the question is bigger than one trade. Did the Lakers just make the smartest move in modern NBA history? Or did they light a fuse under the most powerful player of his generation? Before we go deeper, let me know where you are watching from. Are you watching from Los Angeles, Cleveland, Miami, New York, or somewhere else? If you think LeBron should stay with the Lakers and finish this with Luka, comment 1. If you think the Lakers disrespected him and he should leave, comment 2. And if you want more NBA drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes stories like this, subscribe to the channel right now because this story is just getting started. The trade that shook the entire NBA, the Luka Dončić and Anthony Davis trade was not just another blockbuster. It was the kind of move that made the entire league stop breathing for a second because trades happen every season. Stars get moved, front offices panic, teams change direction. But this was different. This was 2 all-NBA level players, both still viewed as elite, being swapped in the middle of a season with almost no warning. One was a championship big man, a defensive monster, a proven playoff weapon, and LeBron's trusted partner. The other was Luka Dončić, a generational offensive engine, a player young enough to carry a franchise for the next decade, and talented enough to make every team in basketball jealous. That is why the reaction was so violent. Mavericks fans could not believe Dallas had actually let Luka go. Lakers fans could not believe Los Angeles had pulled off something that felt impossible, and NBA players around the league were reacting like fans because nobody expected a franchise cornerstone like Luka to be moved without months of rumors, tension, or a public trade demand. That is what made it feel unreal. Usually when a star is about to be traded, there are signs. A strange quote after practice, a leaked report, a meeting with ownership, a social media unfollow. Something, but this came like lightning. 1 second, Luka was the face of Dallas. The next, he was wearing the future of the Lakers on his shoulders. For Los Angeles, the basketball logic was obvious. You do not pass on Luka Dončić. Not when he is still in his 20s. Not when he can score, pass, control, tempo, punish defenses, and become the face of your franchise long after LeBron is gone. The Lakers have always chased stars, but this was not just chasing a star. This was securing the next era. But that is also where the emotional damage started. Because landing Luka meant saying goodbye to Anthony Davis. It meant breaking apart the championship duo that had saved the Lakers from years of frustration. It meant telling LeBron, without saying it directly, that the franchise was no longer only trying to maximize his final years. They were thinking bigger, longer, colder. That is the part nobody could ignore. The Lakers won the trade on paper, but winning a trade does not mean everybody inside the building feels like a winner. Luka got a new spotlight, Davis got a new team, Dallas got crushed by criticism, and LeBron got a message he never asked to receive. The Lakers were moving forward, and for the first time in a long time, they were willing to do it without asking him first. LeBron's pain behind the professional smile. When LeBron finally stood in front of the cameras, he knew the whole basketball world was waiting for one thing. They wanted his reaction, not the polished version, not the safe version. They wanted to know if he was angry, if he felt betrayed, if he believed the Lakers had crossed a line by trading Anthony Davis without warning him first. But LeBron has survived too many NBA storms to give away everything in one press conference. So he did what only LeBron can do. He praised Luka. He called him one of his favorite players in the league. He talked about inspiring the next generation. He made the trade sound like a basketball blessing instead of an emotional earthquake. And in some ways, that was real. LeBron has always respected Luka's game. The vision, the pace, the creativity, the ability to control a floor without needing elite speed. There is a basketball connection there. But behind the praise, there was pain. Because Anthony Davis was not just a name on a transaction sheet. AD was the guy LeBron trusted when the Lakers needed a stop. He was the teammate who took the defensive burden so LeBron could preserve enough energy to dominate late. He was the player who stood beside him inside the bubble when Los Angeles won the 2020 championship. They were not perfect every year, but they were bonded by something most duos never get to share: a ring. That matters. So when LeBron said he lost a dear friend and a championship partner, it landed because everyone knew it was true. He was not just adjusting to a new roster. He was grieving a basketball relationship that had shaped the final great stretch of his career. And still, he had to move forward. That is the strange burden of being LeBron James. He does not get unlimited time to be shocked. He does not get to disappear. The cameras always find him. The microphones always wait. The team still needs leadership. The new star still needs acceptance. The fans still need direction. So LeBron gave them direction, but the words he chose were careful. He said he understood the business. He said he was committed right now. He said he would help make the transition seamless. Every sentence sounded calm, but underneath it was a warning. He was not powerless. He was not finished. And he was not going to let anyone write the ending of his career without him. The Lakers had made their move. Now LeBron had to decide how much of himself he was still willing to give them. Luka arrives, and the Lakers quietly choose their future. Luka Dončić did not just arrive in Los Angeles as a new superstar. He arrived as a new timeline. That is what made this trade so much bigger than basketball fit. The Lakers did not simply add another scorer. They added a player young enough to become the next decade of their franchise. A player who could sell tickets, dominate headlines, carry playoff expectations, and keep Los Angeles relevant long after LeBron James finally steps away. And that changed everything. Before Luka, the Lakers' future was cloudy. They still had LeBron, still had AD, still had the Hollywood pressure to chase championships, but nobody really knew what came next. How long could LeBron keep playing at an elite level? How long could Davis stay healthy? How aggressive should the front office be with draft picks? Was the team building for now, later, or some impossible version of both? Then Luka walked in, and suddenly the answer became obvious. The future had a name. That does not mean the Lakers stopped respecting LeBron. It does not mean they stopped valuing what he had done for the franchise. But respect and strategy are not always the same thing. Emotionally, LeBron was still the legend. Strategically, Luka was becoming the foundation, and everybody could feel it. The front office had to think about Luka's prime. The coaching staff had to design an offense where the ball lived in Luka's hands. The roster had to be shaped around his strengths and weaknesses. He needed defense around him. He needed athletic finishers. He needed shooting. He needed a center who could protect the rim and roll hard. He He needed a team built for the next 5 to 10 years, not just the next 5 months. That created the uncomfortable question. Where does LeBron fit? Because LeBron was not a normal aging star. He was still producing, still reading the game faster than everyone else, still capable of taking over stretches, still too good to treat like a ceremonial veteran. But he was also expensive, older, and operating on a timeline that did not match Luka's. That mismatch became the center of the drama. The Lakers wanted to honor the past and build the future at the same time, but in the NBA, eventually, every franchise has to choose. And by trading Anthony Davis for Luka Dončić, Los Angeles had already made the first choice. They chose tomorrow. The problem was that LeBron was still standing in today, refusing to fade quietly into yesterday. The money problem, nobody wants to say out loud. The hardest conversations in the NBA are not always about talent. Sometimes they are about math. And for the Lakers, the math around LeBron James became impossible to ignore. His salary was massive. His presence was powerful. His legacy was untouchable. But if Los Angeles wanted to build a true championship roster around Luka Dončić, every dollar mattered. Every contract mattered. Every roster spot mattered. That is where the tension became real. Nobody wanted to say LeBron was the problem, because that would be disrespectful and also too simple. LeBron was still good, still productive, still one of the smartest players in the league, still capable of changing a playoff game with his control, strength, and passing. But building around Luka required a very specific kind of team, and the Lakers did not have unlimited flexibility. They needed defense. They needed wings who could chase elite scorers. They needed size at the rim after losing Anthony Davis. They needed players who could cover for Luka's defensive limitations and allow him to save energy for offense. They needed shooters who did not hesitate. They needed athletes who could run. They needed balance, but balance costs money. And when one player LeBron's age carries a salary that large, the front office has to make difficult choices. Again, this was not about blaming LeBron. It was about the reality of roster construction. A team built around Luka and Austin Reeves needed defenders, not just names. It needed legs, not just history. It needed players who fit a new system, not just players who respected the old one. That is why people around the league started whispering. Could the Lakers really build a contender with LeBron still on the books? Could they maximize Luka while also giving LeBron a real chance to chase another ring? Could they do both without becoming too slow, too expensive, and too vulnerable defensively? Those questions were dangerous because they attacked the heart of LeBron's value. Not his greatness, his fit. And fit is where legends become complicated, because LeBron had earned respect. He had earned power. He had earned the right to decide his future. But the Lakers had also made a promise to Luka. They had told him, directly or indirectly, that they were going to build something serious around him, and if they failed, Luka's patience would not last forever. So the Lakers were trapped between two obligations: honor the legend, build for the new king, and somehow do it without destroying the team in the process. The season LeBron refused to fade away, the Lakers wanted a clean transition. Luka Dončić was supposed to become the future. LeBron James was supposed to slowly step back, and Los Angeles would move into a new era without too much drama. But LeBron refused to follow that script. At 40 plus years old, he was still producing, still leading, still reading the game faster than almost anyone on the floor. He was no longer the unstoppable version from Miami or Cleveland, but he was still dangerous. He could still control tempo, punish mismatches, and carry a team through uncomfortable stretches. That made everything complicated. If LeBron had clearly declined, the Lakers' decision would have been easy. Thank him, celebrate him, and build fully around Luka. But he kept giving them reasons to pause. When injuries hit Luka and Austin Reeves, LeBron was still the one holding the team together. He became the emergency engine, the veteran voice, the last man standing when the new plan started to wobble. And that is where the problem became emotional. The Lakers were preparing for a future without LeBron. But LeBron kept proving he was still part of the present. He was not asking for sympathy. He was not asking for a farewell tour. He was still helping them win. So Los Angeles had a painful question to answer. How do you move on from a legend who is still useful, still proud, and still chasing one more championship? That is the dilemma. Luka is the future, but LeBron is not finished. And as long as he keeps playing like he matters, the Lakers cannot treat him like yesterday. Rich Paul sends a message to the Lakers. When LeBron James wants the NBA to hear something, he does not always have to say it himself. Sometimes Rich Paul says it for him. That is exactly what happened when LeBron's camp made it clear that he still wanted to compete for a championship. The message was careful, but everyone understood it. LeBron knows the Lakers are building for the future around Luka Dončić, but he also wants a real chance to win right now. That sentence changed the entire offseason because it was not a direct trade demand, but it was not a simple statement of loyalty either. It was pressure. It told the Lakers that LeBron was watching every move, watching whether they would build a real contender, watching whether they still cared about his timeline or whether they were already thinking only about Luka's next 10 years. And the league heard it immediately. Teams began to circle. Cleveland, Golden State, Miami, New York, the Clippers, Denver, every team with a dream could imagine what LeBron might look like in their jersey. That is the power of ambiguity. LeBron did not have to say he wanted out. His camp only had to leave the door slightly open, and suddenly the entire NBA started guessing. That has always been LeBron's power. He controls the story without saying too much. One careful statement becomes a week of debate. One small phrase becomes a warning to the front office. The Lakers understood the message clearly. LeBron was not begging to stay. He was evaluating. If Los Angeles could give him a real championship path, he might stay. If not, someone else might try to give him one. The team's waiting for LeBron's decision. Once LeBron's future became uncertain, the NBA started imagining him everywhere. Cleveland was the most emotional option. A third return home would be a perfect story. LeBron going back to the city where everything began. The same city where he delivered the 2016 championship. It would feel full circle, almost like a movie ending. But Cleveland already has its own team, its own identity, and its own chemistry. So bringing LeBron back would not be simple. Golden State was the legacy fantasy. LeBron James and Stephen Curry on the same team would instantly become one of the biggest stories in NBA history. Two rivals who defined an era suddenly chasing one last ring together. The attention would be unreal. But the Warriors would have to solve major questions about money, age, defense, and roster balance. Miami offered another emotional path. LeBron already knows Heat culture. He already won there. If Miami had another superstar next to him, the idea of LeBron returning to South Beach for one final title chase would become dangerous. New York would bring the biggest spotlight. Madison Square Garden, the Knicks, and LeBron in the same story would dominate sports media instantly. But LeBron does not have time for attention without a real championship path. The Clippers and Nuggets also made sense in different ways. The Clippers would let him stay in Los Angeles. Denver could offer a stronger basketball structure, but every option had problems. Money, fit, role, health, control, timing. That is what makes this so unpredictable. LeBron has choices, but no perfect choice. The Lakers have history and Luka. Cleveland has emotion. Golden State has legacy. Miami has culture. New York has spotlight. And LeBron is still the one holding the power. 3 endings for LeBron and the Lakers. There are only 3 real endings to this story. The first ending is LeBron stays with the Lakers. Los Angeles improves the roster, adds defense, shooting, and size, then tries to win with Luka and LeBron together. Luka becomes the foundation, LeBron becomes the bridge, and the Lakers attempt to chase a championship while still building the future. That sounds great, but it only works if everyone accepts the truth. Luka must become the center of the franchise. LeBron must trust that the Lakers are serious about winning now, and the front office must stop trying to satisfy 2 timelines with half measures. The second ending is LeBron leaves, maybe through a sign and trade, maybe to Cleveland, maybe Miami, maybe Golden State, maybe somewhere nobody expects. If that happens, the Lakers fully hand the franchise to Luka. The direction becomes clear. No more split focus. No more awkward questions about past and future. But if LeBron leaves and wins somewhere else, the Lakers will be haunted by it. Every big playoff game would become a reminder that maybe they moved on too soon. The third ending is retirement. This would be the quietest, but maybe the most powerful ending. LeBron could decide that after more than 2 decades, it is time to walk away on his own terms. Not because the league forced him out, not because he had nothing left, but because he chose peace, family, and control over chasing one more exhausting season. Still, retirement is hard to believe because LeBron still looks like he has something left. So now the Lakers, Luka, and the entire NBA are waiting. Stay, leave, or retire. 3 doors, 1 decision, and whatever LeBron chooses, it will define the final chapter of one of the greatest careers basketball has ever seen. The final lesson from a legend still controlling the story. The Lakers are caught between a legend and a new era. On one side, they have Luka Dončić, the future of the franchise. He is young, brilliant, and talented enough to lead Los Angeles for the next decade. If the Lakers promised him a championship roster, they must keep that promise. He needs defenders, shooters, rim protection, and a team built around his prime. On the other side, they have LeBron James, one of the greatest players in NBA history. He brought the Lakers a championship, carried their spotlight, and kept performing long after most players would have slowed down. He deserves respect, honesty, and a real chance to compete if he stays. That is the lesson for the Lakers. Great franchises do not avoid hard decisions. They make them clearly. If Los Angeles wants to build around Luka, then commit fully. If they want LeBron to stay, then do not treat him like a symbol. Treat him like a competitor who still wants to win. And for LeBron, the lesson is human. Every legend eventually has to decide what matters most at the end. Is it loyalty, another ring, family, peace, a perfect ending? There is no easy answer, but there is dignity in choosing honestly. This story is bigger than one trade. It is about power, respect, transition, and legacy. Luka does not need to apologize for becoming the future. LeBron does not need to prove he is great. And the Lakers do not need to pretend nothing has changed. They just need clarity. Because silence creates rumors. Rumors create pressure. Pressure damages trust. And broken trust can destroy even the most talented team. Whether LeBron stays, leaves, or retires, the ending should be handled with respect. He has earned that. Luka has earned a clear future. And the Lakers have earned the responsibility of making the right decision before the story controls them. If you believe LeBron should stay with Luka and chase one more Lakers championship, comment 1. If you think he should leave and chase ring number 5 somewhere else, comment 2. If you think retirement would be the most powerful ending, comment 3. And if you love NBA stories like this, subscribe, like, and share this video because the next LeBron decision could shake the league all over again.